So, Poppy Playtime Chapter 4 just dropped, and with it, we're diving straight into some of the wildest theories yet. Chapter 4 has officially upped the stakes, and the plot is even more twisted than we imagined. The question on everyone's mind? Is there a toy uprising about to happen? Let's break it down. 1. Recap of Chapter 4. Alright, if you've played through Chapter 4, you know it's not playing around. We're introduced to a new ally, Doai the Doman, and things start to get pretty intense when we face off against the prototype. But here's where the theory gets interesting. What if the prototype isn't just another freaky enemy, but a key part of a much larger plan for the toys to overthrow humanity? First, let's back up a bit. If you've been following the story, we know Playtime Company was trying to make sentient toys, but what if the toys, like Huggy Wuggy and Poppy, weren't the first experiments? What if the prototype is the final form of the toy uprising that's been brewing for years? 2. The prototype's true power. The prototype, we finally get a good look at this creature in Chapter 4. It's massive, and it's not just a mindless toy. It seems to have its own intelligence, and is capable of things the other toys couldn't do. What if this thing was the first true success in Playtime Co's experiments, far more powerful than the others we've seen? This thing isn't just a toy, it's a weapon. But what if the prototype was created to be a leader? Maybe the final weapon in the toy uprising. Instead of simply being a mindless monster, the prototype could be the orchestrator behind the chaos, pulling the strings of the toys in the factory. Think about it. We've always seen the toys as victims, right? But what if they're not victims? What if they've been building up to this moment, using every encounter to gather strength, to organize, and to fight back? 3. The underground toy society rebuilds. Now here's where it gets really juicy. In Chapter 4, we see a lot of tension in the factory. We know about the underground lair, and the toys who were once thought to be scrapped, abandoned, or defective. But what if these toys are actually forming their own society in secret? Maybe these discarded toys are being led by the prototype, and they're actively planning their next move. The toys are getting smarter. They're building weapons, coordinating attacks, and adapting to their surroundings. The prototype is the leader of this underground faction, and Chapter 4 could be the beginning of the rebellion. The toys we've seen before, like Huggy Wuggy, Poppy, and even Mommy Long Legs, might be under the control of the prototype, who's slowly been manipulating them to achieve its own goal, an uprising. 4. Poppy's role in the uprising. Now let's talk about Poppy. In Chapter 4, we get more of her backstory. But here's the question, is she really our ally? What if Poppy has been playing both sides this whole time? We've already seen that she's capable of manipulation and control. She's not just some harmless doll. I think Poppy has a much bigger role in the toy uprising. What if she's actually working alongside the prototype, helping orchestrate this entire thing? Maybe she's not the victim we've been led to believe. Instead, she's playing the long game, using us to help the toys rise up against the humans. In Chapter 4, when we're introduced to Doai the Doman, I think we're seeing the start of Poppy's plan coming together. She's recruiting, building alliances, and ensuring that the toys' rebellion has the right pieces in place to take control. Doai could be another piece of the puzzle, just like the rest of the toys we meet. 5. The human experiment. But here's the ultimate twist. What if the entire game is an experiment to test humanity's weaknesses? What if Playtime Company wasn't just creating sentient toys to sell to kids? What if they were secretly using humans in the factory as test subjects to see how we would react to the uprising? Think about it. Every time we die or get attacked, it could be a part of a larger psychological experiment to understand how humans respond to danger and fear. In Chapter 4, we're presented with the prototype, a creature that's more intelligent and powerful than anything we've faced before. It could be the result of years of experimentation, meant to test not only the toys' sentience, but how far they can push us before we break. The toys may be rebelling, but we're the real experiment. 6. The toy uprising begins. So, what happens next? In Chapter 4, we're left with more questions than answers, but it's clear that the toy uprising is starting. The prototype has been awakened, the toys are becoming smarter, and Poppy's intentions are far from clear. But what if the factory isn't the only place at risk? What if the toys are planning to spread beyond Playtime Company, and launch their rebellion on the outside world? The prototype is just the beginning. As the toys get smarter, we could see a massive uprising. One that forces humanity to face the consequences of playing God with sentient toys. The next chapter could bring even more horrors and revelations as we discover the full extent of the toys' rebellion. Alright, that's all for today's theory. What do you think about the prototype and the toys' uprising? Is Poppy really helping us? Or is she leading us into a trap? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as always, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you don't miss out on more Poppy Playtime theories. Until next time, stay safe and be careful with those toys.